this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Monday, November 21st, 2022. Here for my weekly cross-stitching update, a little bit of quilting as well. So it was a busy week, but it was also quite productive, so I'm excited to share what I worked on. And this coming week is also going to be busy, but in a different way. Lots of family stuff this week because of Thanksgiving, so I have plans, but we'll see if I get anything as much accomplished as I'm hoping I will. Because, there's always more get-togethers, and you can't stitch as much during get-togethers. I'll probably work on some things. I'll bring stuff with me in case there's times during those get-togethers to stitch, but sometimes it's just not possible, as you know. So let's jump right in. I have a sweet thank you card I got from someone who won a giveaway, and she also put in this really sweet Christmas ornament. Yay! So thank you so much. This is adorable. That's super cute. So that'll go on my tree this year. I'm of the camp that we don't decorate for Christmas or listen to Christmas music until after Thanksgiving. So that will be there until we get our tree. And we do get a real tree as well. So it's usually not till like at least the second week of December because we like it to last through New Year's. So that's our plan. And a couple things. One, just a reminder of my new temperature pattern, Temperature Quaker. And I also have a sale going on in my shop right now, 20% off all patterns, PDF and print that are ready to go patterns. So not personalized things and no kits at this point. So they're there, they're just not on sale. So this is my new one. I'm so excited. A lot of you have already got this. So thank you, and I hope you have fun with it. I'm planning to do mine on Prim Vintage Cloth, which is a 25 count, 1/1. It's a little bit of a dark tan, but I have all these colors that I picked laid out on that fabric, and I think it'll be nice. So I also might stitch this on that fabric for this Christmas. I don't know. I don't think these are on sale, but I bought this this week. Stitch with Coffee. She's on Etsy, and I believe she's a South Korean designer, and I followed her on Instagram for a little while because her designs are super cute. They have lots of cats in them. And then she came out with this series of Christmas sweater kitty cats that this one just screamed my mom. As you know from just finishing Knitting Woman, my mom likes to knit. She knits socks. She's actually currently knitting socks for my dad. Her name is Joy. She loves cats. Like, this is perfect. So I needed this in my life. And I need to give this to my mom. So I might make this year. I didn't really want any more new starts, but it's a gift and it's super small. It's 51 by 66. And possibly I could even take out, I might even take out this bottom border and just make it a little bit more square too. And because this isn't necessarily doing anything for me. I like this. This is pretty. So yeah, I need to make this. And I was thinking I could do this on Prim also, because this is a very similar color to Prim, the dark tan. 1/1 on 25 count. We'll make it like 2 inches. It'll be super cute, perfect ornament size. And it's charted for DMC and some DMC Etoile and a couple other fancy things. Let's see. I've never used my Etoile, so I'm like, ooh, that could be a fun way to use my Etoile. So they have some beads as well, called for, and some Whisper, which I have. Whisper maybe in the socks, one of the socks. I probably will sub out the beads for Etoile as well, because if I'm doing it 1/1 on 25 count, as I've found with Frosted Pumpkin, even petite beads are a little bit too big. So just to make it simple, it calls for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Etoiles and like 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 regular DMCs and then 4 beads. So I'll probably use whatever the beads are called for. I'll probably have a similar Etoile equivalent on the chart even. So I'll just use those wherever they're called for just to give it some sparkle, but not too poofy and do 1/1 and make this for her for Christmas. I think I can. My family does special project that's ready for Thanksgiving every year, and we've done it for the last 13 years and for our get together, and it's very time consuming through October and November. So that is actually more busy for me than December is for a typical busy time for people. So I'm hoping that I finished last night. So now I feel more free with my free time. So now that that's done, I think I can maybe do this. So stay tuned. I may start that this week just because I think that'd be fun. I know I just gifted her something Stitchy related, and I have that Home Sweet Home thing that I was thinking of making into a pillow to give her at Christmas time. But you know, I couldn't. This is too perfect. I think this is probably more perfect than the pillow. So, all right, cross stitching. Here we go. Travel stitching first, like we do. I worked on my Wander With Me yesterday, and yesterday I didn't end up getting to my sampler of stitches at all because I was focusing on finishing up our family project and so close to finishing it. So I'm like, you know what? Executive decision, that project can wait. I want this done. And then, so with the little bits of stitching time I had, I finished this up to get it to a good stopping point, and then worked on Under the Sea Club a little bit more. So I want that to get caught up too. So I feel good about that. Both of these are easy to work on. This is on 27 count, Linda Vintage Country Mocha, 1/1 full cross. This I'm using this year's temperatures. As you can see, it's definitely getting colder here. Our trees are changing color, and so fun to see the change as you follow the path. Definitely got hot, and now it's cooling off again. So there's that. And the Under the Sea Club is also, it's 25 count. So both of those are pretty easy to just work on and make progress. They're really easy, and I'll show Under the Sea Club in a little bit, but I did spend some extra time on that this week too, besides yesterday, so it has some progress. I worked on September a little bit here on Victoria Samplers A Year in Stitches. You can find this on their website under the Creative Designs section. And I worked on this in the car, which that particular chunk of travel stitching is not going to happen this week because my kids don't have school all week. So here it is now, and probably where it will be next week too, because I won't be doing it then. But this is September, where I got to. I did, I think, all of the white, and I'm working on the red right now because the white was a big structural piece. This is a 1/1 little cross stitch sampler that has a little blue ribbon on it to represent putting your things in the fair. And I don't like the way it's charted because it just doesn't look like anything. And my first glance when I saw this originally was like it was just a cup of iced tea or something, because it really doesn't look like a sampler or anything. I know it's super tiny, so there's not a lot you can do with it, but I'm gonna look on the Victoria Sampler Facebook group and see if anyone has charted something different there. And if not, I might just put like a little flower or something. I think I could probably figure out how to put flower in there, just so it looks like something. It'll still be 1/1 and have the blue ribbon on it, but something decipherable. I think it's probably too small to put ABC on there. So I'm not sure. But I don't think I want to stitch it as charted. I did the outside white because I figured it would be either a matte or like fabric showing through or something. So I went ahead and did that, but I'm going to change the rest of it. I did work on my Mill Hill on Monday, which was nice. I may not pull this out today though, because we have a family get together tonight, and I might use Under the Sea Club for all my family get-togethers. That chart is really easy to see because it's color, and the Mill Hill charts are a little harder to read in a social setting because I'm not highlighting, and sometimes the symbols they're kind of light. I don't know. It's not very distinct to be able to stitch and look up and visit and stitch. So I think the Under the Sea Club is a better choice for social stitching this weekend or this week. So I'll be probably bringing that along with me to all my family get-togethers this week. But here's where I got to last Monday, and I did work on this a decent amount in order to finish out those wings. All the cross stitching is finished in the wings. The 2 colors I worked on were just cross stitching, no more beads this time. So next time I'll probably start working on like the outline stitches of the honeycomb to get some structure in there for placing colors and flowers and things like that. So, or I might do the flowers next, but I don't know. I kind of feel like doing the structure, like the honeycomb shapes in some of those colors. So I think that would be nice, but probably not this week. I think I'm planning when I'm home, I want to do as much of my Whipco pieces as possible because I think I'll be lacking in home time. And then when I'm away, I'll work on Under the Sea Club. So I think that's my plan for this week. Let's see. I guess I could show Under the Sea now. Since I worked on it several times throughout the week. I worked on it 4 times this week. I stitched on it during 2 different times we watched Lego Masters, trying to get caught up. We got behind a little bit on that. And like sometimes at home, just if I had something else going, I can't even remember. Some with my sister and on our phone call that we do. So yeah, a few different times. Here is this one. This is by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. Their 2022 year-long stitch-along, mystery stitch-along. We still have 2 parts. This part should be revealed on Friday, unless I decide to give it to us early, but I think it should be released on Friday, the day after American Thanksgiving. And then this will be December, released a couple days before Christmas. Yeah, so I am pretty happy with my progress on this one. I'm not caught up, but I'm getting closer. And if I give it my kind of bonus stitching time this week, I think that'll help get it there. So here we are. This is the 25 count, 1/1 full cross. Kind of like it's just a mystery light blue, medium blue fabric I had in my stash. And all the called for, none of the called for colors, only one. This deep blue sea with the waves, that's the only one that's called for. I finished the otters completely. They're super cute. And I finished these yellowfish completely. So that's fun. I didn't end up doing the tan color in the turtles or the diver because my thread ran out when I finished the otters, and I thought, you know what? My thread's done. The whole point in continuing down here to do this was just to finish out my string, really. So if my thread was done, I might as well keep focusing on these guys to get them done. So I did these little fishes and then some eyeballs and things like that. So I also did some bubbles. These are the silk lame bubbles here, and then the pearls that were on the border that were released when this part was released, but I just didn't do it yet. I want to make sure I counted right, and it looks fine. I realized there's another little wave underneath the diver that I didn't see before, so eventually I'll have to do that too. But coming, next thing I'll work on, there's a couple fish right here, and then the turtles and the diver. So then, and a couple more fish below the diver. But yeah, then I'll be ready for the next part. So this is super fun, and it's getting close. It's really enjoyable to work on. Bright, happy colors. So I like that one. Okay. So my first Whipco piece that I worked on this week was from my full coverage Whipco board, and I was working on Princess of the Sea, Mini Princess of the Sea by Donna Gelsinger. And I got my goal and then some My goal on my full coverage pieces is 1,000 stitches, and I got 1,442. And I think it's because I worked in the sky, and it's half stitches, but the sky helped because it was a bunch of blocks of color, essentially. So here is where I got to. 28 count Dove Gray Monaco, 2/1 half stitches. And I decided not to go work in the girl at all because she looks very good so far. Like, obviously there's some missing spots in there, but you can see her. So she's still a motivator, but I felt like continuing to work across, and I liked the play of color as it was changing from the darker to back to these peachy colors that were over here and into the light cream. So the play of colors was really fun. And I decided to modify this over to my modified typewriter method, where I choose symbols within a 10 by 10 block before moving to the next 10 by 10 block across top to bottom, left to right, within 10 by 10 blocks. So I had a couple holes in here, I think, that I filled in as well to make sure those blocks were finished before continuing on this way. So pretty cool. Then you can see more done that way. As you will notice on my next one, I realized it does kind of inform the way I stitch, like the path I take with my floss when I'm trying to finish a block versus just the top line of symbols. That was a unique discovery. And I'll explain it here in a minute because I'm about to get to that one. Tuesday, I cut out some quilting pieces for both blocks 3 and 4, and then worked on them on Sunday. So I'll show them at the end of the stitching portion, but I'm excited I'm caught up on that again. Thursday, I started Hidden Harbor. I'm so excited. Where is this one? This is Hidden Harbor Color Expansion by Andy Russell, Heaven and Earth Designs. And there's a lot less sky than I realized. I thought maybe it'd be most of this top, but it really is just like a third of the top. So I have a lot of sky done, but once I was like right about here, and there was a single stitch that I was working on to finish a block, and realized that stitch had one in the block next to it, and then it was easily counting, and I ended up way over here with that color, it working into the hillside, which was really cool. So most of this is solid along the top here, and then it's like, what did you do? Turned into a Stitchin' Mommy piece for sure, because a lot of my whips end up looking like that, where I just kind of go with my string until my string runs out. So here is my start on Hidden Harbor. Yay! This is on 28 count tea-dyed Monaco, the stiff craft store stuff, 1/1 full cross. And it should go a little farther here, but around here is where the hillside starts. So it's actually closer than I thought. So really pretty colors. Like a fuzz on there. Started with some purples and moved into some blues. And I just expected to do these next 2 blocks are a lot of these same 2 blue colors, and I just expected to do more of that for the rest of my stitching time. And then I saw that one symbol that, oh, well, it's also here and it's also here, and all these counting was fairly close together, and I just kept going. As you can see, this is the start of like these different like layers of the hills. So that's pretty cool, which will give me nice things to count off of as I go. But something I noticed when I work with the modified typewriter, all of these 10 by 10 blocks now are finished, and a lot of the colors flow this way in the sky. They don't flow down. So a lot of these purple ones, that's all, the only place they were was this corner, and then they were done. I had to put my thread back because it wasn't anywhere, no more of that symbol was anywhere in this vicinity. So these ones, a lot of them, some of them came down a little farther, but some of them just went this way. And I realized if I were doing my original typewriter method where I do all across the top row choosing symbols, I would have gone farther along the top row rather than maybe this time I ended up like kind of stitching down the 10 by 10 square and then stitching down the next 10 by 10 square to try to fill them in as I went, because there was a lot going on there and I didn't want to go all the way across and then have to keep getting more thread on my needle to keep filling up like all these blocks at once kind of thing. I don't know if that makes any sense. I wanted to fill up the blocks faster to be able to move along quicker. So that was different. But something else I did, because at the very beginning of a project, for me, it's easy to do the typewriter along the top row. But having worked on Knitting Woman, I realized it's, as you get into the project, it's easier to do the 10 by 10 squares, because then you can see, okay, that block's done, let's move to the next block. And it's easier to visualize where your next stitch symbol should be that you're picking. Less time finding that next symbol. So I thought it'd be fun. It's kind of like a mini finish when I finish a 10 by 10 square, because now that's my goal, finish that 10 by 10 square and surrounding places until my threads run out, and then move on to the next 10 by 10 square. And it's like little mini finishes. So I took pictures after every 10 by 10 square was finished, and I think the last picture might have 2 squares finished at the same time because they were finished with the same length of thread. So basically what I was doing is when I finished a 10 by 10 square, I just finished out the thread I was working on, then took a picture. So that last one ended up completing 2 blocks with the same length of thread. So I'm going to put those in here just because it's really fun. So you can see a little progression of my 3 days of work on this after every little milestone of completing a 10 by 10 block. So I thought that was really fun. Hope you enjoy seeing that. And let's see. I think that's all of my stitching that I did this week. So I'll quickly show you my quilting, and then we'll do plans. So I'm working on the Scrappiness is Happiness sampler quilt. So this is the book we're getting our blocks out of, but this is the actual quilt. So we're really only doing 1 block of each from the book, and then they put together this, I believe it's a free layout to put it all together like this. So this time I worked on this little Chex Mix block and this one, this bigger one up here, the Crisscross Star block. And I've noticed in the past, I'm a fairly novice cross quilter still, and I've noticed in the past if I have a heavily pieced block, it shrinks and ends up being smaller than it should. And I think part of that is maybe tension with the thread, but it also, I think my presser foot is slightly more than a 1/4 inch, because I've always measured it to assume it's a 1/4 inch, but I think it's maybe like 1 millimeter more or 2 millimeters more or something. So I end up with slightly more than a 1/4 inch seam, and then all my pieces don't work. So I realized with this one that is the case. Let's see, I think it's this way. This is my Chex Mix block, and it is too small, especially in one direction. So I'll probably be taking this out at some point and redoing it. It's a little wonky and a little bit too small for the space, and I've found a different presser foot that goes with my machine that's possibly slightly smaller than a 1/4 inch, but I think if I use that one, I might be safer at getting an accurate seam allowance. So I'm gonna actually take this apart and try again, but not yesterday I was working on these and I'm like, I do not want to do that now. So this is where it is for now, but I'll probably be circling back and doing this one again. I'll just reuse the fabrics, iron them out, and try it again. But this other one turned out well, and I think a lot of the reason these ones turn out so nicely is because they're on diagonals, and they have, the Fat Quarter Shop has you like draw a line on the back of the squares, and then you sew along the line to get your diagonal, so then doesn't matter what your seam allowance is. So the diagonal things tend to work better, which is why it's been hard to noticed this before. So this is my crisscross star, I think is what it was called. Turned out super cute. One fabric for all the outside background, another fabric for the inside, and then all of these are different colors. This one is from a quilt I made in high school that I had left over. These two and this one, I think, are from, and this one even, maybe even this one, are from the So Happy quilt that I did last year, and then the rest of these ones are from, this one might be from So Happy too. I wanted to get a variety kind of throughout the rainbow of colors to go around there. So yeah, I thought that turned out pretty cute. This is a nice big one. The biggest one I've done so far, but the pieces were large, so it didn't actually take very long. So that's fun. And I'm keeping them in my bag from, that Rolanda sent me from Eliza's Fantasy Bags in Canada. And super big, and it's perfect for that. So the next one I'm gonna do, I should have time on Sunday. I think all the craziness will be done by then, and I should have time to quilt and maybe even work on sampler stitches this coming Sunday. So do we do this one? Fat quarter flirt block. That's the next one in this thing. I don't see that one. No, it doesn't look like we use this one. So we go straight over to Happy Trails block, which is this one. Oh, this is another big one. Let's get a good picture for you. That's a really little one. Well, that might be the best one. So here's this one. That's gonna be the one I'll do this time. So I definitely need to get my seam allowance sorted out because there's a lot more little bits in this one. So I think having my new presser foot will help, and should be able to get that one figured out this time. All right, so going forward, my plan is to do Under the Sea for any bonus stitching I might have throughout the week, get-togethers, whatnot. Then I'm gonna work on, oh, I forgot my actual pattern. I did that last time I had a Mirabilia. I am gonna work on Adia the Garden Fairy. I'll put a picture up what she looks like in case you aren't familiar. She's the first WIPGO call for November on my Fancy Lady board. So my goal for her is 3 days, today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. So I have family get-togethers today and Wednesday, but I'm hoping to at least get a little bit on her on those days. So here is where she's at now. She's on 32 count linen 2/2, and it's probably dirty linen by Zweigart, which is what was called for. I don't remember any memories of buying this fabric, but it's probably what it is. So I don't know if I want to work up here in her wing to kind of be able to work from the top down or get some more of her dress done. Wing might be good just to finish that up. I do like working from the top down, so. And it might be, I think I finally, one of the last times I worked on her, I finally got all the confetti in her hair done, which is really nice to have that done. There is a good amount along the roses in her shirt collar neckline thing as well, so it might be nice to just focus on some solid block stitching over here, especially since I may not have a lot of time this week. So yeah, I'll work on wing. It's a little bit wonky, but that's okay. When it's finished, it'll be good. They're really long stitches. Yeah, so there's Adia. And then my second WIPGO piece this week will be Cat Alphabet from my second full coverage WIPGO draw. I'm excited about this one. I keep seeing Carolyn Zook over at Zook Stitch working on hers. She worked on it for Tour de France, I think, in July, and then like once a month, at least for a day, most months, and it's just, I'm jealous. It's such a fun piece. It's so colorful, but I had my plans and just didn't fit to put it in anymore, but finally get to it this year. Here it is. Also by Heaven and Earth Designs. Irina Garmashova is the artist. You can buy a lot of these as quick stitches where they crop out either just the title or one of the letters and just do that if you'd like. This is the whole thing, regular size, regular colors. And it's so cute, so colorful. Even regular size, it's enormous. This is on 28 count 1/1 and it's still this wide. But I am doing, so far, I've been doing the original typewriter method where I choose symbols along the top row within the first block. So I was doing just the cat alphabet title block, and this is where I got to. And I believe when I worked on this the first time, when I started it, I got all the way to the edge of that cat alphabet title block with the top row is completely finished. So I may continue to do the original method on this one, because it is a nice way to kind of touch all the colors throughout the course of my 1,000 stitch goal for the rotation. So I think I might continue, and it's a smaller chunk. It's not like, I'm not going across the whole thing. So I may just continue with line by line. So I'll come back here and pick whatever color is next in the second row over here, and then work my way, choosing symbols that way across and see where I get to. So excited to get back to that. Looks like this needs a needle minder. Must have been during the season when I had run out of needle minders, but now I have plenty, so I'll need to get one for this. Roll it up. And then I'm hoping Sunday we'll be back to normal and I can, that looks like a very involved quilt block though, so I might need to try to find some time throughout in the week like I did this week to cut the blocks out, so on Sunday I can just sew and still have some time to work on sampler stitches. Going forward into December, I likely will need to spend some quality time on sampler stitches to try to get it done, but I also want to spend some time on my Christmas pieces, so I'm not exactly sure how that's all going to work. But I guess I'll show you, I might just show you the starting point of sampler stitches again. I'll do my before picture from last time of the close-up, but I'll show you the whole thing now. This is by the Drawn Thread. I was hoping to get it done this year by doing one block every 2 weeks, but I got behind and I still have a whole nother row of patterns to do. There are 9 individual patterns. Each, this is one pattern. So I have a whole nother chunk down here to do. But it'll get done when it gets done, and it's been fun seeing everybody else who jumped in with me closer than I am. But that's okay. This Sunday I didn't feel like I had the headspace to get it out, especially since by the time I was ready to just sit down and stitch, I only had like 15-30 minutes to stitch. I didn't feel like it was worth it to get this out. I wouldn't see a significant amount of progress, whereas if I got Under the Sea Club out, I could maybe see some noticeable progress on that. So that's what I chose. Yeah, I think I should be able to come back next week, normal time, because my kids are back in school, and let you know my plans for that. Yeah, it's possible I'll start my little Christmas sweater kitty cat ornament. But we'll see, because if I'm working on the Under the Sea Club from my bonus stitching, trying to get that cut up, and new parts coming out this week, I may not have extra time. But if perhaps I get caught up on Under the Sea and the part's not out yet, that could be a good excuse to like kit this up, get a few stitches in, and take this with me to family get-togethers. That could work, because my mom is not, this is most of the get-together, the get-together this week will be with my husband's family, so my mom won't see it, so it'll be fine. All right, anyways, I think that's fun. I hope you have a wonderful week. If you're in America, have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and enjoy time with your family and lots of yummy food, and happy stitching. Bye.